Welcome to Unstoppable Agents. Welcome back. I'm your host, Brian White. I'm an associate broker in North Texas with EXP Realty, also a team leader. And Unstoppable Agents is a show where real estate agents come to build their business, build their wealth, and build a life of impact and significance.
Everything that was making me successful as an investor had value to other investors and to builders and to developers. And so what ended up happening is I was finding off-market deals that I would either buy myself or I could take it to other people in the market that wanted to purchase those.
It's pretty amazing. I get to interview some of the top 2% of agents across the country. And I'm super excited today because I've got Tim Cornwell from Bellingham, Washington. So Tim, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we were just talking before, and you've been with EXP not quite 2 years and have already nailed the Icon Award, which is the highest award that EXP has to offer. You've done that twice. So congratulations on your success.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm excited to hear from you because as a team leader and a successful agent, you've got a lot to you got a lot to share. Let's just jump right in with that. And if you were talking to a new agent, what 3 pieces of advice or 3 tips would you give a new agent right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have spent countless hours working with new agents on that same question. And I think there's 2 elements for any new agent that they need to master, which is mindset and then a skill set.
Okay.
And it starts with mindset. And one of the biggest challenges I find with new agents is they have underestimated the amount of salesmanship required in this career, as opposed to just showing houses, writing offers, going through inspections. They've underestimated the amount of prospecting required and the amount of initiative that it requires to begin a conversation with someone. So with that comes what's holding people back from initiating contact and reaching out. And I call it this: you've got to embrace your identity. You are a real estate agent. And guess what? Yeah. That is one of your identities. You identify as a professional real estate agent. And this concept of, I'm embarrassed, I feel shameful because I don't want to be a slimy salesperson. I don't want to be associated with used car salesmen. And for some reason, they have attached a stigma to being a real estate agent. Well, as long as you feel that way about yourself, it's going to be very difficult to project into the world any kind of value because you don't value yourself in your career and your industry that you're in. So that's the first step for a new agent, is that mindset piece of, I identify as a real estate agent and I'm proud of it. This is the pathway that I have chosen to create my future. Awesome. And any resistance that a new agent has to that statement that I just gave, until that gets solved and worked out for them, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle either way, but they're really going to struggle if they don't get the identity figured out. The second one is, let's say they've embraced this new career path, this new identity, and they're ready to go take action. What happens is, between thought and action, this distance gets broader and broader because they don't know anything and they feel like anything they do needs to be perfect. And what I encourage our agents to do is to go ahead and take that immediate imperfect action. And because imperfect action completed is better than perfect action that never happens.
Yeah, totally.
Jeff Cohn is a team leader down in Omaha, Nebraska. Yep. He talks about success. He says the most successful people he knows are the ones that have figured out how to make the most mistakes the fastest. And so I think part of the mindset piece in this business as well is like embracing failure and knowing that I won't do everything perfectly right out of the gate. I'm not going to know everything I need to do. There's so much to know. And the only way I'm really going to make forward progress is to make as many mistakes as I can. So obviously, I'm going to go to that training. I'm going to listen to a mentor. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to watch a YouTube video, whatever people do to get content for their education. But even though that between thought and action, that gap, we want to shorten that gap. And you only do that with this mindset that once I know I need to take action, I take immediate imperfect action. If they can build that into their way of being day in and day out, incredible success awaits them. Item number 3 is to It really is to find that voice that they resonate with, and someone that is more experienced, more advanced, more successful than they are, and to start following them. And to follow, like, hey, who's somebody in this industry that's really crushing it that I can respect, that I resonate with, and then just go all in on their content and their training and their mentorship, because you can avoid mistakes that way if you can learn from someone else's mistakes. So those would be the 3 pieces of advice I would have for any new agent.
So I love that. And there's this idea that a bad idea fully and consistently executed is better than the best idea that you don't do anything with. So just do something.
Yeah.
Do it a lot, do it consistently, do it quickly, and that's going to get you a lot better. I think about and talk a lot about, if you're trying to get from here to here, you can sit here waiting on finding, okay, what is the perfect path? Or you can take this direction and start moving. And when you get up here, well, you can course correct. But if you're still sitting at the beginning, then you didn't get anywhere. So,
well, a mentor of mine said this. He says, "You cannot steer a parked car."
Wow. Oh, that's good. That's really great. Oh, actually, when you answer the next question, I'll write that down when I've got a minute. That's a really good one. The other thing that you shared that's really wise, and one of the great things about real estate, maybe more than many other business, we talk about this idea that success leaves clues. People are working too hard to come up with the new idea or the unique way of building their business. And you certainly can do that, and some will find success in that. But so many have already found success by whatever method. You're talking about find the method, find the mentor, find the person that resonates with them, and follow their path. And just you can, by getting in their wake, by following in their footsteps, you can save 80% of the errors, or get 80% down the path, and find so much more success. I think that's really smart. Learn from others and their failures.
Yeah, I really strongly believe in the team model. And honestly, for a new agent to at least commit their first year to being on a team, they'll experience that collaboration amongst the other agents. And there's so much you can just pick up on from being physically in proximity to other people that are experiencing the same things. I'm with EXP. We're a virtual company. However, I did purchase my own bricks and mortar office. So I have an office. Our team agents come in here every day, and we collaborate together. We see each other face to face. I'm here for them every day. And so to be part of a team, because it is a virtual world these days, on the other side of the pandemic, so many people are used to just working from home. As a new agent, I can't imagine a new agent thinking, I'm going to become a real estate agent and just work from home. What? That's going to be really tough. So to be part of a team in the beginning, I guess I'm giving you a 4th tip, which is just join a team. I know there's team splits and all that kind of thing, that just like, why would I share my commission with a team? That's because you're going to compress the amount of time it takes to become successful in this business.
Yeah. 50% of something, depending on your team splits and how it's structured, but 50% of a larger number is better than 100% of zero.
Yeah.
So it's just a mindset thing. And going back to the first thing you said is, real estate's a hard business.
Yeah, it is.
And it's emotionally difficult. There's a lot of failure and frustration, and you've got to keep your mindset going to overcome that. And in being part of a team, being surrounded by others, being in an environment where you're getting encouragement from others helps that mindset. The others failing, the others succeeding in spite of failure. And that encourages all of us to be successful. So we're actually sharing. I'm leading the witness, if you will, in terms of the next thing I'll ask you is I'd love for folks to know, what are your 3 favorite, we're both with EXP, so what are your 3 favorite things about EXP?
Yeah, great question. A little bit about my backstory with EXP. I started as a solo agent in 2012, and then I wanted to start my own team eventually. And the brokerage I was with were like, hey, we're not on board with the team model, so let's extinguish that thought. But it was like, it wouldn't go away. I wanted to start a team. So I ended up starting my own company, started my own brokerage in 2015. And then in 2019, I wanted to go multi-state, because I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. Bellingham, Washington is the best place on earth to be in the summertime, but I don't necessarily love winters around here. Not that it's like Minnesota kind of cold winters. It's just dark and rainy and wet and damp all the time. So I was like, okay, what if I could duplicate my team in Florida in the wintertime, have that team function and operate year round, but I would be there a good portion of the winter, and then keep operation going in Bellingham. How am I going to do that? So our little brokerage was not going to open up an office down in Florida. So I called Glenn Sanford, because Glenn's a Bellingham guy and I've known Glenn for years. So I called Glenn and I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. He goes, love that. Would love to have you here with EXP. But we have a policy. If you're in one state with EXP, you can't be with another brokerage in another state. It needs to be EXP across the board. And I thought, oh man, like I'm really going to leave my own company, because I had business partners. And I started looking at the model really seriously, talking to team leaders, broker owners that had left their brokerages to come to EXP. And I'm like, this is compelling. And this is a compelling model. And literally took a yellow notebook, line down the middle, the old Ben Franklin pros and cons list. And I came up with 20 reasons to go to EXP and about 3 reasons to stay at my own brokerage. And those 3 reasons really had to do with comfort and ego. And the 20 reasons to go to EXP had to do with doing what's right for myself, my family, and my team. Okay. And so out of those, what are some of those? Let me just hit you on some of those. One of them was the idea that EXP is a brokerage you can retire from. Because wherever you're at, if you sell real estate for the next 20 years, you can do that at any company in the country. At the end of those 20 years with any other company, or most any other company I know of, you're going to sell your last house and it's over. With EXP over the next 20 years, if I am buying company stock with the stock purchase program, if I'm attracting a few other agents to the company through the revenue share program, if I'm Icon, where I get some more company stock, there's actually potential to have some wealth that's created and also some recurring income that I will generate after 20 years of efforts with this company. Like I mentioned, the stock, the company stock, the ability to acquire company stock, EXP stock at a 5% discount. Every time I sell a house or anybody on my team sells a house, because they're splitting with me, I have allocated 5% of that commission to purchase EXP stock at a 10% discount. And so the question is, Brian, how many $1 bills would you like to buy from me for 90 cents? You know,
it's an IQ test. It's like, how many can I get? As many as I can possibly get.
Right. So they limited at 5% of my commission. But I love that, because over the course of time, how much company stock will I acquire with basically a forced savings account is what it is. Yeah. I love that model. The other one is with the Icon program. Again, if you cap it $16,000 and then do enough transactions where you pay an additional $5,000 in transaction fees, then you qualify for Icon. I'm eligible then to receive back that $16,000 in the form of company stock. So again, what if you were doing, in our market, that's about 26 houses a year. If you can sell about 26 houses a year, $500,000 to $600,000 average price market, you're going to Icon every year. But what if I did that for 10 years? Oh, wow, $160,000, 20 years, $320,000 in company stock at whatever that face value of the stock is. I don't know. I'm just knowing that $16,000 that I was just flushing down the toilet at XYZ brokerage, now I get reimbursed. So like that. And then the revenue share program, I'm not a huge raw recruiter type of a thing. I'm in this business to run a reputable professional operation, sell a lot of houses, help other agents sell a lot of houses.
Yeah.
And along the way, because of my reputation and because of the way we run our business, if other agents ask, hey, what is this EXP thing? How does that work? I'm curious. Then we have the opportunity, the privilege to really share this platform with them, this model. And if they so choose to become part of EXP, when they sell a house, EXP pays me a bonus. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And if I, over the course of the years, if I attracted 3 or 4 people a year, let's say, over the course of 20 years, I could be generating a decent recurring income. Some people do really well on it. They make a lot of money, more than I make in commissions a year. They're making in the rev share. And some agents don't even participate in the program whatsoever. I see it as a benefit. I see it as just an extension of what I do anyway. Any brokerage I'm at, because of who I am and the way I run my business, people will ask me about it. Hey, I want to get into real estate. What's this about?
Yeah.
And the opportunity to share that with other people, it's really fun, it's really exciting, and it benefits them. I feel like the platform is so beneficial. I think it's the best business decision a real estate agent could make for their business. And to be able to invite others to be part of this that will benefit them, and it does benefit me, that's a win. That's what they call a win-win.
And it really is, All right, when you approach it the right way, which is obviously you are, in terms of how can you help others? When any of us in real estate we're engaging with other agents every single day. And you hear great things about other places, you hear not so great things about other places, and we have an opportunity to help some folks build their business. And it's nothing more than just having a conversation about how you can help somebody else. And the fact that we get paid for that, and not only do we get paid for that every year, but it's willable. So our kids, our family, so they can continue earning off of what we created. So in 20 years, like you said, not only are you an owner in the company and theoretically have built up substantial wealth, but there's also recurring income that both the wealth and the recurring income can be handed down to others. You're really creating a legacy from already just being a great corporate citizen, just trying to be a giver in the community that's helping others succeed. And I think it's great that Glenn designed a business model that incentivized that. We were going to do that anyway. So thank you for paying us for being helpers and good corporate citizens. Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about your business. And so where does your business come from? You mentioned that, I guess maybe first, so you're a team leader. So what does that look like for you, and how did you design your team?
Yeah, as a brand new agent, starting out as a solo agent at a brokerage, it was that experience of walking in. Hey, I'm the new guy here. Oh, what do I do? Oh, here's an office for you. Here's the Wi-Fi password. Good luck. And it was like, what? How do I? And so I struggled. That first 6 months was brutal. And eventually, just because of grit and determination, I wouldn't give up. I figured it out. And 2 years prior to getting my license, I had started becoming a real estate investor. I started doing real estate investing and didn't know what I was doing. No idea, no experience, no money. Just, I didn't know what couldn't be done as an investor. And so I started getting creative and putting some deals together, like fix and flips, and then figured out what private money is and seller financing. And anyway, did several projects in a 2-year period of time while I was still working a full-time job, and then went full-time in real estate as an agent as well. And what served me really well in the first few years as a solo agent was everything that was making me successful as an investor had value to other investors and to builders and to developers. And so what ended up happening is I was finding off-market deals that I would either buy myself, or I could take it to other people in the market that wanted to purchase those. And ultimately, if they didn't want to purchase those because maybe the seller wanted market price, well, that turned into a listing. So before you know it, I'm just creating opportunity right and left everywhere I go. So mine was not a normal path. I didn't sit down and go, hey, what's my sphere of influence? Because I looked at my sphere of influence list. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't call these people. How do I call these people? I know these people, but I've never physically made a phone call to them. They're going to pick up the phone and go, is everything okay? Are you at the hospital? What's going on? You've never called me before. And so I was like, I had a story about my sphere of influence. So I just went crazy busy with investment opportunities, trying to find off-market deals, buy myself, sell them to get other people involved. What happened is one of the builders that I was finding deals for came to me and he goes, dude, you are crushing it. Like the amount of time you're saving me and the way your brain thinks, like it's just like me, and you're providing incredible value. He goes, I've been working with a real estate agent, but I'm going to fire him and I'm actually going to hire you to, not as an employee, but I want you to handle all my listings. So suddenly I was thrust into this builder's world and helping him buy vacant land, stuff that he could plat, all the spec houses they were building, getting those on the market. And so, wow, what the heck? And my business was just exploding with that kind of business. Then along the way, I was still doing, I did a lot of open houses and just built my business up that way. But I think right before we started our team, I think I might've sold about 50 houses that year, like third year in the business. And then I was like, wow, okay, what kind of life am I going to have selling 50 houses a year? It got a little overwhelming. And this concept of leveraging and bringing in other people, because I remember that experience I had as a new agent. I was like, this really sucks. And what if I could help other people avoid that new agent psychological breakdown that just most people quit because they just don't know what to do. I thought maybe I could help new agents be successful quicker so they stay in the business. We could work together, and then I could help them share the load of all this business that I have. And so that was the concept. And so that's what we've been doing since 2015. Started my own brokerage, launched my team in the brokerage, and been running it ever since. And, as a team leader goes, we talked about making mistakes earlier. I should be one of the most successful team leaders in the world because I feel like I've made so many mistakes along the way as a team leader. But I've just embraced that. I know that's just part of the journey of my growth and maturing as a leader. Right now, we're just have one location. We cover 2 counties here in Washington, Northwest Washington. We've got about 11. So I think we just had a new agent join today. We have 12 agents on the team. And last year we did 100 plus transactions for about 50 million.
Awesome.
But right now we're really shooting for how do we break that $200 million volume number? That's the goal. So yeah.
That's a great operation. So did you end up, so you got started at EXP thinking about Florida. Did you ever open that? Did you ever expand
No,
on that?
Brian, it's still in the invisible state. We're still working on manifesting that into the physical world. And honestly, if anybody from Florida wants to partner with me and build something together, I'd be all about it.
Yeah, maybe we can help you find an expansion partner down there.
That'd be great.
That's awesome. I love your story, and I love the idea that, we all make mistakes, and whether it's agents joining your team or even clients, I think so often we feel like, oh, we've got to know everything, or we need to appear like we know everything, so we can't show weakness. When honestly, that's when people are less forgiving. When we act like we know everything, when we act like we're the experts all the time, then people are like, oh, you should have had all this. I thought you knew all this. Instead of, hey, you know what? I don't know everything, but it's one of the great things about EXP, right? It's a great learning and collaborative environment. So if you don't know the answer, somebody does. And as long as you say, hey, you know what? We're going to get you the best answer we can, people feel great about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less risk for everybody and a lot more fun, frankly.
Agreed, for sure.
That's a lot more fun. Tim, you've been a lot of fun, so thank you for that. As we wrap up today, so first, we'll include links to your socials and websites. Anybody moving to Bellingham or moving to the area can find you. But as we wrap up, just any parting thoughts or comments for the audience?
I would just say that I feel like real estate, I've heard Glenn say this before as well, but I feel like real estate is this incredible gift for the right person. To use real estate as a pathway to create a life for yourself that really I don't know of too many other entrepreneurial or employment opportunities where, whether it's good or bad, the bar is so low. Like entry into this business it's not tough.
Yeah.
It's not very difficult. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't require much education. But what it does is it opens a door to unlimited possibility. And whether as a real estate agent, as a real estate investor, or really as an agent at EXP, I feel like it's like all of these different methods of creating income, creating wealth, creating me as a bigger person, it helps me reach my potential. It's a pathway to my potential and freedom, like the flexibility that real estate brings that I couldn't get in a job.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, sometimes a job, it does push your potential, but then there's a plateau. There can be a plateau in a job where it's unless I get a raise or I'm willing to transfer but in entrepreneurship, every single day, I am tasked with becoming bigger and better, more in alignment with my true self, I guess you might say.
Yeah.
And because do my goals match my potential? And do my behaviors and activities, are they in alignment with what my potential is? And so that's just something that goes through my mind every day, is that passionate pursuit of my potential. To me, that's what happiness is. That leads to happiness. And that's really ultimately the reason we were put on earth, my belief, is that if everybody on this planet every day knew what I'm going to pursue my potential with passion, the world becomes a pretty great place.
It does. That's awesome. I love the idea of passionate pursuit of your potential. No doubt that real estate is an opportunity for all of us to think bigger and really to unlimit our thinking and hey, how big can you think? And that doesn't mean things. It might, but that's a byproduct of big thinking and a big life, and honestly serving others at a really high level. So the things happen when you think bigger and when you serve at a high level, which is why I like that passionate pursuit of your purpose. That's so good. That's awesome. Well, Tim, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Brian. Thank you so much.